Thank you for watching Toxin Magazine. I'm your co-host, Shanique Bird, along with Marquise Morrow. And I want to welcome MC Shan to our platform. Now, for those who may not know who you are, could you tell me who you are and when you started in the music industry?
Well, at this point, I'm the guy sitting on y'all Zoom, okay? But I started back in the early 80s, 86, 85. My first song was called Molly Scratch. And then I came with a song called The Bridge that really opened up the world for me. So, but all of that's out there for those that, I don't want to bore you with my history of all. I've been in the Guinness Book of World Records twice. I've got a #1 selling record that been done.
Okay. No, but that's what we want to know. We want to know who you are. Now, who at that time, who was your influences?
Well, I only had one influence really, and that was well, two of them: Grandmaster Caz and Melly Mel. Melly Mel was my model that I wanted to build myself off of because he was so lyrical with it, and the stories that he told just made me want to be like that kind of an artist. I didn't want to be the yes, yes, Charles, you don't stop. No disrespect to anybody else that did that, but I didn't want to be me.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you, sir?
I woke up this morning, so everything is great.
Well, I just want to thank you for being so kind and outgoing from our first conversation, and thank you on behalf of both of us for doing this. But what I want to know is, you the body of the Queensbridge MCs. Were you the first one doing it at that time when you was popping off? Were you the first one or just the best one?
Well, at that time there was Dimples D before me. But by the time I came around, Dimples D already done, broke off and did whatever. That probably was a one-shot, one-off deal for her and Molly Marr. But I was the man in Queensbridge. I made Queensbridge as popular and as famous as it is. And I'm glad to see that Queensbridge now has a Grammy.
Right. And I remember Dimples D too. I didn't know she was from QB.
Yep, she was from Queensbridge.
All right. I could dig that. So how was it like MCing? How was the struggle before getting on wax? Like, did you have to do a whole bunch of parties?
No.
How was your come up?
Wasn't no struggle for me. My whole story is different than every artist out here that had to make demos and had to go give it to somebody to listen to. If I made a record Saturday, if I made a tape Saturday in the afternoon, Saturday night, it was on Mr. Magic's Rap Attack. So I didn't go through listen to my demo and can I get it played on the radio? No matter what I did, went on the radio. So my struggle in this hip hop, but if it wasn't good, it wouldn't have been on the radio. So my struggle was way different than other people. I just happened to be down with the right cast of people, Fly Tie, Super Rockin' Mr. Magic. Now, for those that don't know Mr. Magic is the reason why we're all doing this at this point right now, including you two, because Magic was the first one to start playing hip hop on the radio. Magic also had an opportunity to be one of the biggest DJs on the radio station that wasn't playing hip hop. And they wanted him to quell the hip hop. They didn't want him to play it. He said, you know what? This is what I want. And he stepped off and he turned WHBI into a hip hop mecca for all of those. And if you're not familiar with Magic, you might be vicariously when Biggie said, I let the tape rock till the tape pop. Mr. Magic, Marley Marl, that's what he was talking about. We only had that at one point. If you wanted hip hop, that's where you had to get it from.
Yeah, that's for sure. We got mutual friends, man. Magic was my dude, man. I got flicks with him and all of that. I remember seeing him in New Road after his heyday on the radio. He was doing a little telemarketing. You know what I mean? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. He was
and
doing
we,
limousines. He was doing limousines and stuff like that at that point.
yeah, and I seen him, and he let me record him. He said, "Look, I'm a one take type of dude, man. You know what I mean?" So I got him on tape. I got pictures with him. So we got mutual friends. You know, like I told you, like Van Silky and all that. So I'm glad you brought that up.
MC Shan, how long did your career span?
Well, I started in 80 something, and I just dropped a new single like last month or something called Bounce. And so I would say my one of my records just turned 31 years old, like not too long ago. And so I've been in the game for quite a long time. Quite a
Okay.
long time.
Now, are there any current rappers that you would like to have a feature with?
I don't do features. I hold my own. I'm still on that old school. I don't need no feature. People always say, "Well, Shan, why don't you get this dude?" Nothing. I don't need no feature, yo. I hold 48 bars down by myself still today. I don't need no features.
You drop something for
I
us?
do not listen to hip hop. I do not listen to none of the music that's going on today because there's nothing stimulating mentally to me. I can listen to it and it's not stimulating me mentally to just be, yeah, it wants me to, move forward and do something, makes me want to do bad things. So I don't want to, and it's just like what I say is people like Frere Jacques. I like Frederick Chopin. So all of this Frere Jacques music that's nursery rhymes out here doesn't appeal to my intellect. Not saying that I'm better than anybody or anything. It's just the music that I'm listening to. I would love to either make me have a good feeling. I've done enough drugs, and usually that's what the songs want to make you do nowadays. Strip some lean and so just bringing our community backwards. When we started doing this, we were doing this to uplift the community with the public enemies, the ex-clans, the brand Nubians, you know what I mean? And poor righteous teachers. But now we don't have those kind of groups out here that are circumventing all the garbage being pumped into our children, who follow the hip hop that we used to love, and they think that it's the same hip hop that our parents loved, and it's just not.
Now I might get in trouble for this because all of the first generation hip hop people I consider them brothers. But I want to ask you this, Shan. Do you consider yourself a pioneer?
I'm not. I'm one of those pioneers. I'm a pioneer in a different realm. When I said on my record, I helped pioneer this. What I was talking about, I helped pioneer the record portion making of this hip hop game. Because before me, there were only tapes, jams in the center, this, that, and the third. But then, now I'm not saying I'm the first one to make records. But what I did was I changed that whole yelling. And you know what I'm saying? And when I came along, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be just who I was. And so basically after Spoonie and them, and it came to the record thing, I was the first smooth dude on record that made it okay for Rakim to be who Rakim is, who Kane is, because we weren't yelling anymore. It wasn't, rock the bells. And LL came out before me, and he was just following the hip hop mold, running them. You remember they used to just yell. It was just like, yo, I ain't got to yell at y'all to let y'all know what's popping with Shizzle. All of his beats and my rhymes attached. So it was just, I'm a pioneer in that aspect.
Okay, that was well said, and I'm glad you mentioned Spoonie G because he was definitely one of the first smooth ones, soloists to come out on record.
Thank you.
But do you consider yourself a pioneer in the hip hop period?
Yes, I do. And I'm kind of like ticked off because when you see them hip hop collages that you see 50 artists and you only see one Kango and it ain't mine. But you can look on that collage and you can look up 20 artists that Shan has influenced. I influenced him. I influenced him. But I'm not on the picture. But that's okay, because y'all gave me Instagram, and now I can say what I want and show you what I want and show you that I was killing your man Chris since back in the day, since that's one of my main hangups. Since our artists are dying and nobody told their legacy to where I'm telling mine. Before I close my eyes, I'm gonna let y'all know what was up with Shan because I'm not gonna let somebody else tell it because they're not gonna tell it the way it is. And I'm looking at it just like I mentioned that picture. They're not even, Shan ain't even mentioned as if I wasn't a staple in this game. So y'all telling a lie with all that crap. And so it's time for me to straighten it up. So if you want to get it straight, you just come on my Instagram, Mc Shan with a #1, and I'll straighten it up for you. I've been straightening it up for y'all for the past couple of days.
And I dig it. And we're going to get to your boy Chris later on. And as far as that moral is concerned, I learned that when hip hop, you gotta, whoever's doing something or writing a magazine or something, you always gotta consider the source because they don't know. They get second and third hand information anyway. So a lot of them people ain't even credible. But I wanted to go back to the pioneer question, and no disrespect, but and like I said, some of my Harlem crews might give me a call. But if you wasn't in the Bronx,
friends, so don't worry about it. And they know Shan gonna say whatever anyway. They all my friends too.
I'm saying if you ain't from the Bronx, you can't be a pioneer according to the meaning of the word. So that's why I asked you. A lot of them say they pioneers, but they're not pioneers because the meaning of the word is to have begun something or started, or you were there in the beginning of it. So if you wasn't from the Bronx,
now I'm gonna make a lot of my old friends and your friends mad. Oh yeah, y'all pioneered that cassette and all that, but when it came down to records,
I'm talking about hip hop period. I'm not talking about the music business.
Well, we can't. Well, that's all part of it. You can't separate that. And see, that's that Bronx crap. Oh, listen, I got a thing with the Bronx. The Bronx, they always want to be claiming they first. I did this first. All of the Bronx rappers are arguing who did this first, who did that first, why did that. Ain't nobody care who did it first. And that's why we don't fuck with y'all niggas like that when it comes to my pioneering era. We like, whatever y'all did is cool. And so it's like, okay, but y'all want to keep pointing. Nobody worried about that now, even in 2021. Nobody's worried about what Shan said in 86. What are you doing now, Shan? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing now? I just put out a new joint. You can't sit back and keep living off of what you did, and that's what they keep doing. Oh, I did this. I was first for that. What you doing now? To make your whole thing relevant. There's a lot of people out here that don't know who you are. They don't care who you are. All right. Well, how are you gonna make them care? Get out here and put your word out. You got all this Instagram. You got all this. We don't gotta use record companies to put out records no more. You can put out your own records. Nobody's worried about what we did back then. What you doing for us now? What have you done for me lately? You know what I'm saying? And if you're going to go walking around living on your pioneer this status, then you stay there. I'm not walking around on that. I'm walking around on the premise to check out what I'm doing now. If the rest of y'all want to stay doing that and live on that and be first and this, that. Well, I was the first one to have a sing on my record like TJ Swan. Now, you all know TJ Swan to sing on my record. I don't want to go through life just claiming that. I'm bigger than just that.
You said that you released a single. Is this independent?
Independent. And that's what's great about being one of the artists from my era. We're so used to having to ask a record company or somebody to do this for us that we don't have to do that now. If I wanted somebody to have a record of Shan's, I can just go pay TuneCore, put my own album out. I got a computer, I got a studio, we've got everything that we need to keep carrying on our legacy. Where they keep saying, well, you ain't did nothing in 20 years. But there's a lot of old school artists out here that still have that flame and that fire in them that I have. And we don't have to ask anybody anymore. We can put our joints on YouTube just like the rest of y'all. But now, here goes the thing. We get a lot of people on our Instagrams, our Facebook saying, oh, we can't wait to get some of that new music back, or some of that old real hip hop. But then we put this old hip hop out that you're used to and loving, and you don't support it. It's not like the old days where you have to go and buy these songs. And that's where a lot of the old school artists get caught up in it too. Because when I put out this new song, I didn't think about people buying it. I gave it to everyone. I gave it away, gave it to DJ, gave it, because it's streaming now. Either you bring your mental into the way that the world works now, or you're just going to stay there. But we don't have to ask anyone anymore, can I make a record? Can I do this? No, but you're going to have to work for it, because I'm my own promotion team. I'm all of that, everything. I got Jeff doing my interviews and whatnot, but I'm doing everything else. And you're only going to get as far as you take yourself. Don't nobody owe you anything. And if you're looking for a favor, you can forget about it.
Bro. So what I want to know is, like, you being from Queens, did you ever go to like the first hip hop joints of battle, like the T Connection, the Harlem World, or did you ever battle any of the pioneers?
I was too young.
But
how I did witness this hip hop, my window in my bedroom faced the Reese Center. Now you can ask all of our old friends that they used to come to Queensbridge and rock in the Reese Center. Grandmaster Flash, Kaz, and all them, Fearless Four. I heard them first before I ever saw them. Because when they had the jams in the Reese Center, me and my little self that couldn't be outside was in the window listening. You know what I'm saying? And just to take you to a point in my life, when I'm sitting in my window listening to these cats, I never thought that my name would even be mentioned in the same sentence as my forefathers, although they're going to be mad because Shan said that Bronx thing. But in the end of the day, I'm still looking at it like, who would have think that my name would be in the same annals as Grandmaster Cash, Melly Mel, and all, you know, and Fearless, you know, Mike C and these guys, for being one of those hip hop pioneers that made something happen. I never thought that as a kid when I'm listening out my window. And so that's just to say to any of you out there that have a dream, follow it, because you never know what's going to happen with it.
I agree. Do you write your rhymes, or you make them up in your head?
They made up in my head, but I do write them. I'm not one that, I don't do much things haphazardly. Matter of fact, I do everything haphazardly. I don't go into anything with a game plan, because you might switch it up. And if I'm stuck to a game plan, I'm screwed. But when I write music, it has to be to a song that makes me say something. I'm different about my music. You can't just hand me a beat and say, Shan, this is hot. It has to talk to me. All the records that you hear me do, the music made me say what I said. I listened to it. Everything has a feeling. And although people say hip hop is just hip hop, no, hip hop is definitely a feeling that you can get from the music. You can't put a happy song on a gritty track. You see what I'm saying? And so if I had a gritty track, my mind would go gritty with the music, and I would write something accordingly. I never just did anything out of just, oh, that beat is hot. I don't feel it. I don't care. That could be a Buster joint that was million seller, and I passed on it. I'm not going to be mad. I wasn't feeling it. That's when I'm being fake to myself. If I'm doing something that I don't really love and I don't really like, I'm being fake to myself, and I can't even do that. That's how straight messed up I am. I can't even do that.
I respect
that. MC Shan, do you consider yourself a rapper or a hip hop artist?
I consider myself an ill lyricist. There's a difference between all of that. See, there's the MC that knows how to spit some good rhymes to say ho, and yes, Charles. And then there's the lyricist that can make a story And with words, I can make you see something visually in your head with words, with just what I'm saying. Put a story together from the beginning of the song to the end that you got a video in your head from what I did. Now, these rappers, I don't know what that comes from. You know what I'm saying? But there's an MC and there's a lyricist. And that rapper stuff is just what they're mumbling about today. And I have no, I'm just good with it.
You're very well spoken, brother. You're very well spoken.
That's today. But if you caught me on Instagram, every other word is an asterisk. Why? Because that's my platform and I do what I want.
I recently watched a video that you did, and you spoke about your drug use. Tell us a little about that.
Listen, that's one thing that I'm not ashamed about. There's a lot of people out here that go through life and they go through doing things. I'm not ashamed of my drug use. I told it, I said it. And what really made me come up before is like everybody's saying, oh, D, you don't know whether D did whatever. You wasn't there. And when I tell people, if you're a crackhead, you're a crackhead. You're not sniffing anything. And if somebody give you a package and you're a crackhead, you're going to cook it up. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way for D to have gotten a hot dose unless he was doing something I don't know. All I know is that in his life, he's been known to be a crackhead, one that smokes. Now, myself, having that same disease, know that you can't give me no cocaine that's powdered form. I don't sniff cocaine. And so, if that was the case, I also have a plug that knows me and I trust. So if D got a hot dose and he overdosed, that mean them a lot Illuminati niggas gave it to him? Because D got a plug that he could go to. Why would D get something from one of these little young dudes out here mixing stuff up that he may get a hot dose? He don't need that. He know a plug. We know Miguelito, and they happy to see us when we come, is what I'm saying. And so when people say, oh, D overdose, the fuck, excuse me, get out of here.
That's the media, man. That's the media.
All right, but I'm just saying, if D overdosed in any case, D wanted to overdose. Okay, if that's that case. Now, in any other case, how he gonna get that hot dose unless somebody else slipped it to him? Because, like I said, when we who we are and we do what we do, and some of us don't have no shame in our game with what we do, you know what I'm saying, or have done, we know a plug. If I wanted to go get something straight raw right now, I know a plug. Why am I going to mess with one of these little young cats out here that's going to give me a hot dose? I'm going to sniff something or do something that's going to kill me because they're mixing up drugs. That's all I was saying to it. I don't believe that it was anything to do with an overdose. Now, y'all see crackheads walking around here been smoking crack for 30 years and have never overdosed. I'm not condoning it, but I'm just saying, let's be real about what it is. And when somebody that never did drugs wants to tell me about something that I'm very well versed in, I don't want to hear it. Oh, Shannon, you're saying he didn't. I'm just saying, if D overdosed, he did it to himself. He wanted to. And if he didn't do it to himself, he caught himself slipping with somebody going and giving him a hot dose, them Illuminati niggas. That's all I'm saying.
So how did you start doing drugs?
It was part of what we were doing back then. It was part of what, like they say, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, same thing. Sex, drugs, and hip hop. And most of the people that you know in this hip hop game were doing drugs. Now, they know I know it, but they also know that I would never speak their name in public because that's not the type of person that Shan is. Oh, y'all got me. I'm not the one to say, oh, I got caught, y'all. Come out now. I'm not him. Lots of the people that you look at and you love and blah, blah, blah in this business have sat across the table from me and done drugs with me. But I would never tell their name. And I will take that stamp and put it on my back. And I'm never going to tell their secrets. That's with them. If they feel like telling you, that's it. But I know it, and they can't say nothing about me because I'm already open with mine.
I can dig it. I wanted to ask you something about this golden era thing, man. Now, to me, being from the BX and appreciating the very beginning, I think the golden era is just something somebody put a title on and the world went with it. Now, I think the golden era is the beginning because every style, every record was based on what they heard in the beginning. So if you ask me, the early 80s, late 70s is the golden era because they set the format. So how you feel about the so-called golden era? Whoever made that title up.
All right. Now, look, the golden era, that fits right along with me not being in that picture that I keep telling you with all the artists, right? When they say the golden era, that starts at Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, and them past me. Now, I'm in an era where I don't get no accolades at all. I'm not with the forefathers, and I'm not with the golden era. I'm in the middle because I started right after the original, but I was good and showed these new guys what it was. So I don't get any accolades because that golden era does not even talk about me. It talks about people that came after me that they call the golden era.
That's what I'm saying. It's just a title that people ran with it, and you broke it down.
If you were artists after the 90s, you were golden era. That's all that is. But you know how it always goes. Somebody always comes up with a title or accolade, so you don't have to give any props to your predecessors.
Okay. What was the deal with the different color sneakers you used to wear? Why did you do that?
That just set me apart from the rest of the people. Because we all had the same style. Now, before us, you had our friends that dressed in costumes. When me and LL and us came around, we wasn't trying to do all of that. See, remember, all them groups, there were groups. The Fearless Four, the Furious Five. So it was five. Y'all had to do the uniform thing. But when it came down to you getting solo artists like myself and LL Cool J, we wasn't getting ready to dress like y'all, homie. Get out of here. That ain't just happening. You know what I'm saying? So we dressed as we wanted to dress. And we dressed and we took on the personas of the B-boy. We didn't take on the personas of the rappers that predecessed us. You know what I'm saying? We took on that B-boy thing. And we went with that. You know what I mean? That's what we do. And because we were individual artists, we had to do what we do. We ain't about us doing the dance steps and da-da-da-da. It wasn't about that. So we just took the hip-hop that we loved from them and made it our own. That's all.
Do you know why they used to wear the stuff they wore?
Because they wanted, and Melly Mel explained it, because they wanted to be entertainers. They didn't, and what I think is kind of crazy is he say, the drug game came into the music. And it's like, it's inevitable for that. Because the next dudes that were after y'all, we were street dudes. So there was no way that the streets couldn't have came into the game. And if you want to think about it, you introduced the streets to us in the game when you talk about a child is born with no state of mind. That was talking about what's going on in our hood. So you was talking about the streets before the streets got into the game.
Makes sense.
And it just so happened that when we got into the game, it was a total different thing. And then as we got into the game, now all of a sudden, 2-3 years later, you got the Fat Cats and you got the Carleys and the Supremes and all of this other drug culture. It used to be a point where rappers were rappers and drug dealers wanted to be rappers. Then it came to a point where the drug dealers were the rappers.
So I want to know, are you still making revenue from previous music that you recorded?
Well, just like every old school artist, we all got jerked. That's why you see a lot of bitter ass old school artists, but I'm not one of them. Why? Because I did something that saved my life. I produced an Irish guy called Snow, and it's called Informer. You know, said I just know me, I can blame. I lick it, boom, boom, down. And so I seen in the music business that the money that the artists get, nothing compared to what the producers and the publishers and the record companies get. So I switched my whole persona. Like, I don't want to deal with hip hop. And when I made that, it was around the time when people were talking about they crushed me. I just had nothing to do with the rap business ever again. Period. Because every artist that of my age, they will tell you that they got jerked. Don't feel sorry for us. It's because we didn't do our due diligence. Where the people we were doing business with were doing business, we were doing friends. When you do friends in business, it never works. So all of these people out here thinking that, oh, I'm about to be on with my mans. That's my mans and them. Well, guess what? Your mans and them is doing business while you doing your mans and them. They're going to take everything that you got. So if you ask every artist out here from my era, basically none of us is getting anything. I'm only lucky because I produced Informer. And so I do have a regular income stream and have had for the past 30 years. I put out Informer in 92. I've been living off that ever since. Informer paid me more than hip hop will ever pay me.
That's good to know. In my opinion, man, you have one of the most unique voices in hip hop, man. I gotta say, not necessarily in this order, but you, Kaz, Pooba, and Jadakiss, y'all voices just set apart, man. And you started, you was the first, because
you missed one. It's me, so it. He asked for it. It don't mean crap.
That's true.
No.
That's true.
Every time I speak to this guy, he be like, yo, you got the illest voice. I say next to you.
Yeah, that's true. But as soon as you come on, all you got to hear is a second, and you know that's Shan.
But that was one of my main things starting this game. I didn't want to sound like anybody else. And that's just me talking. You know what I mean? That's me talking, but you have to learn how to verbalize yourself, because when people are listening to a record, see, like I'm looking at you, I can see your facial expressions. But when you're listening to a record, you have to be able to verbalize yourself and make people hear and feel your feelings with the words you're speaking. And so I had to learn that art, and that's what it was. So I wanted to be like, you love to hear the story again and again of how it all got started. Or she used to tell me that she loved me all the time, and I turned to her. You couldn't see me, but you felt where I was coming from.
Indeed. You were a great storyteller. I don't think you're known for telling stories, but if you in the hip hop and if you listen, you could tell you're a great storyteller.
And that's what I'm doing now, letting them see that. But see, like I told you, I fall in that little slot of no man's land. You're not one of the originals, and you're not a golden era. I fall
like Run DMC.
I fall right in that little slot. I'm not golden era, nor am I original.
But that was needed, though. There needed to be a bridge or a transition. So that was needed. Now, if you was whack, that wouldn't even be recognizable. You know what I mean? It's just like if the dudes who started hip hop was whack, there wouldn't be no hip hop because they was whack. It wouldn't have lasted 48 years. So you know what I mean? If you was whack, then that wouldn't be an issue. So you know you played your part.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Well, talk to me. Leave it. What do you mean?
Some of these ones whack. No, and you gotta get
no. They was whack.
Hold up. No, what I'm saying like this: hip hop was a gladiator sport, right? A gladiator sport with words. And if you didn't consider yourself one of the best, you lost already. You lost already. And so some people really were not up to standards of what I might think, but they was good to themselves. I hear you. But can you step in that ring?
I got a quiz for you, brother. A real quick quiz. And I want to thank you, man. And whenever you need something, like if you're doing any endeavors, hit me up, man. I'm gonna send you a box of clothes, man. All right, or something.
Look, all right. You see me, I represent what I represent. When people send me things, I represent it. You know what I'm saying? I big it up and I do whatever.
All right. So I've got a quick quiz for you. Real B-boy stance. Do you know where the B-boy stance comes from?
No,
it's not really a B-boy stance, though. Run DMC made the world think it's the B-boy stance. But do you know the history of the B-boy stance?
No, I do not.
The real B-boy stance is when somebody's coming down the block and they standing like this, that means you're about to get got with size your sneakers. So that's the real stance. But they thought it was a B-boy stance because B-boys do stand like that. But it's really you're about to get got. That's the B-boy stance.
I never knew that. I never knew that.
Yeah, that's a Bronx thing, but it's the truth. But it's the truth. Okay. Question number 2. According to the first documented hip hop party, how old is hip hop going to be this year?
45.
48.
I was close.
Number 3, can there be a hip hop song with no rapping?
Yes, it can be a hip hop song with no rapping. Rapping is that mumbling crap. When you get a lyricist, boy, that's a song.
Okay, now listen. That's a good answer. That's beyond I even thought. But can there be a hip hop song with no lyrics, with no words? Let's put it that way.
No, yes, it can. It'd be an instrumental.
Okay, but what would make it hip hop?
Because of the way that the beats and the drums is going. It can't be a disco song. All right. So anything that we would have turned on and we would have, as MCs or whatever in the thing, decided what hip hop was. So
exactly.
That can
exactly. If the B-boys came out on it, it was a hip hop song. They don't need no lyrics.
Like,
exactly.
Ain't no lyrics in the beginning. It was like, yo, if it came out, made you want to do what hip hop niggas did, that's what it was.
Go ahead, Shan. Let me see. You about to up rock on me.
Yeah, okay. Did I up rock on you?
Sure enough. Okay, how many elements in the hip hop culture?
5. I can't name them. I know it's graffiti, breakdancing, rapping. That's a shame that I don't know the 5, but see, if I was from the Bronx, I'd have known them all. Now let me run me down on what I should know.
Okay, well, the first one is the DJ. You can't have a party with a DJ.
I should have known that.
Then you got the MC. Then you got graffiti, not vandalism, the art of graffiti. Then you got, you know this, but it's really called b-boying, but the media made it breakdancing, but it's really b-boying. And the 5th element is, there's a lot for the 5th element: knowledge, wisdom, understanding, partying, having fun, because all of that is in hip hop, partying, having fun. So that's the 5th element. And if you don't got knowledge, how you going to know when to bring the record in? You know what I mean? So it's knowledge, it's having fun, everybody together, getting down. That's part of this, the 5th element. So the 5th element has a lot of entities, but beatboxing is not one of it.
And why would you say beatboxing is not one of it?
Well, because you can't have a party with just the beatbox. You can't do that. Now, people are always adding stuff 48 years later. And I talked to Tony Tone about this. You know what I mean? People, you don't have a right to just I hear you. You don't have a right to just amend the book 20 and 30. That's what I'm saying. You can't do that. But people are always adding hip hop to something, and this is the 10th element. No. You cannot have a party with this dude.
Who knows this? Let me tell you who knows this. Your man has a temple of hip hop. He's like Jim Jones. He's about to tell everybody to just take cyanide. That's what I look at. I'm like, yo, y'all niggas is crazy. Well, I thought that he might have knew all of the elements of hip hop, and I thought that battling was one of them, like along the main thing. So how you gonna have a temple of hip hop and don't have no battles, son? Listen, man, he's been inaccurate in a lot of things. Oh, we know this. Only look, when he stood up in front of a bunch of college students and said that the fifth dimension is you listening to yourself in your head, I said, y'all motherfuckers are really stupid, because that's just your subconscious talking to you. He figured out the fifth dimension, some shit that supernatural scientists haven't. Y'all niggas got life fucked up.
Three more questions for the quiz, and then I'm gonna let you. Right. Three more. Do you know who made hip hop a culture?
No, I do not.
That was Africa Bambaataa. You want me to tell you how, or it don't matter?
Go ahead, tell me how.
Well, he like for instance, partying, loving, and having fun. He's the one that brought the oneness to it. Like for instance, back in the days in the T Connection, a lot of crews, I could say this because they're my people. The Crash crew and them used to come to the Bronx for the T Connection. Curtis Blow used to get his coat taken. So people will come from other boroughs, you know what I mean? And people they will be fighting. But Bam was like, no, this is our thing. This is a hip hop thing. There ain't going to be no trouble. You know, Gestapo's hold it down. Zulu Nation security hold it down. So Bam was like, I don't care where you from, Brooklyn, Queens. You can come here and have fun and have a good time. You know what I mean? I don't care what borough you
all that when you get back to the train station, but it ain't going to happen here.
That's what I'm saying. So that was part of the way that he made it a culture. That's why the Fifth Element, love, party, peace, having fun. You know what I mean? He also had his dancers. He had the B-boys, you know what I mean? So those are just two of the ways. I can go on and on, but just briefly, those are two of the ways that he made hip-hop a culture.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Okay, now, do you know how the shout-out came about?
How to what?
The shout-outs on the mic.
Mr. Magic made the shout-outs, you asked me.
Okay, but I meant like in the parties. I mean, now that's true. That's an element I didn't think about. But in the parties, like on the mic, let me get a shout-out and all that. Do you know how that started?
Because the niggas in the party just wanted to make everybody know that he was there. That's how that happened.
Yeah, that's true. And the quality to my mind. Yeah, but they were older people too, and they used to sometimes they would hold gun to a dude's head like, "Yo, shout me out." You know what I mean? Because there used to be a lot of older parties at hip hop parties. I mean, older people at hip hop parties. Because remember, it was a kid thing.
So 16, you mean to tell me that nigga put the blicky to you and be like, "Yo, you better shout me out, shorty."
Yeah, that happened a lot. Wow. You know what I mean? And I got firsthand information.
It should have got to the point where, yo, as soon as they came in the door, they start tapping nigga. Yo, so-and-so is here. Yo, so-and-so is here, blah, blah, blah. Don't let him get up to you with the gat. Make sure you know he coming in before time. You won't get that blicky to your head.
Dig it. Now I got two more for the quiz.
All right.
Now this is an audition. So when you do your hip hop show, I want to ask some questions. You know what I mean? I know what time it is.
All right.
Originally, what does freestyle rhyming mean in the beginning? What was a freestyle rhyme?
Well, a freestyle rhyme would be something like this to me. Freestyle rhyme would be, Holly acclaimed that Shan the epitome of rhyme can't dance, so you can't get rid of me. Just a rhyme that's saying a lot of fly, slick things. All right. So along the way, that type of freestyle became rhyming off your head was freestyle, when that's not what it is. A freestyle to me was something you were just saying a lot of slick poetic things in it, blah, blah, blah. The song or the rhyme didn't actually go anywhere, but it just had a lot of ill punchlines. That to me was a freestyle.
Okay, I'm not going to dispute that, but the original meaning of freestyle rhyming was, you remember back in the day when there's a bunch of groups, right? It was mostly groups, hardly no soloists. So right. a freestyle rhyme was when somebody had their own rhyme and it didn't have nothing to do with the crew's routines or the crew's rhyme. That's just something he wrote on his own. That's the original meaning of a freestyle rhyme. It had nothing to do with the crew.
But still, now you know what? It also still falls into what I said. A rhyme that you just, you know what I'm saying? Got nothing to do with that, but it's ill. Got nothing to do with anything. It ain't no song, but you just flipping a whole bunch of ill.
And that's why I said I wouldn't dispute it, because there was that little bit of what you said in there.
But when I came around, That's what freestyle was. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
when they started changing freestyle to off the head, I'm like, no, that's totally two different things. Off the head, it's off the head. Freestyle is something written and coordinated. It's not just some blah. I'm talking about an orange da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that.
I could dig it. Now, one more question for the quiz, and I'm gonna let Shanique go. If you on your own time, you in your whip, or you by yourself, would you gonna be listening to classic hip hop or classic soul?
How about I'm gonna be listening to Imagine Dragon, Make Me a Believer?
Oh, okay. If that's your choice, I'll roll with it.
That's exactly what I'll be listening to. Make me you make me a believer. Believer.
That is a nice song, though. That is a nice song. Shanique, it's on you.
So, MC Shan, you
Yes, darling.
spoke about, you stated that before, you had to get approval to go after, that's why you couldn't respond to The Bridge Is Over. Would you ever respond now?
It's too
Is
late.
it too late?
I'm responding to him as I'm talking. I ain't got to say, I ain't got to make no more records. You know what I mean? I'm responding to, yo, I've been crushing you for years, my man. Let's live up to that. Let's handle that business first, and then we'll get on to can I still crush you? Yes, I can.
The only reason why I asked is you think about Eddie Murphy coming back doing, coming to America 30 years later, a response to The Bridge Is Over, 30 years later would be interesting.
No, because we've been doing this 2017. Me and him went back and forth. And the only thing about what he said about me in 2017 was all you did was you took the same rhymes that you said in 85, talk about get your homeboys off the crack, this, that, and the third. Homie, I got boats, RVs, and buses now. You can't talk about Shan smoking. You dig what I'm saying? You can't talk about that now. Come with some more relevant stuff. Don't rehash a 1985 joint. And so what I did, I made a song called Revenge of the Walking Dead because he keep calling me dead. So I said, you can find it on YouTube. I made a song called Revenge of the Walking Dead. And why it's so simplistic, all I did was put that out there for him to come with something that I could actually talk about. The shit you saying when you gotta have a response and a diss, give me something to talk about. You know what I'm saying? A Magna Carta, there wouldn't be no peace underneath the Magna Carta, but you don't even think that fast. This is the bullcrap that I gotta come up with in response to what you said, because it's so whack. There's nothing for me to grab hold to. Now, if somebody did something ill, you got something ill to grab hold to. You know what I'm saying? But if you're saying the same thing you said in 1985, what you want me to come out my bag with my good shit? No. I'm going to give you this bullshit till you come and give me something that I feel is worthy.
So what do you want your fans to know about you at this point?
My fans already know what it is. Anybody that mess with Shan been following Shan. It ain't like Shan disappeared. Shan on his Instagram every day saying what he do. So anybody that messes with me is there. And anybody that want to come mess with me after that is MC Shan 1 with a number 1 at the back of it. You know what I'm saying? There's no hiding in my game. I'm one of the realest people out here on this. Because I do this, and the things that I do, I don't have to. You can tell that I do this for the love of what I'm doing, the information I'm putting out, the things that I'm telling people. Because like I said, you can look at me and say, oh, he's a broke old school rapper. But I can tell you what, I could not talk to none of y'all and have a good life from this day forward. So that's why, when the things you see me doing and saying, I have a love for my people and I have a love for what I do. Because I could just sit back like any other nigga with money and RVs and boats and just go cruising on the water with a whistle and say, screw the rest of you.
Well, sir, you very well spoken, man. What you went to school for English or something? You very well spoken.
No, I did not. But see, now when people look at my Instagram and they say, well, all he does is curse. He don't know how he can't. See, when I do things like this, and I also show that I can also show that I can put two words together and make it make sense without saying F or S in between, it like screws people's heads up. Like, wow, he really can speak. Yes, I can.
You're very well spoken, man.
And you want to say who's the real teacher? Go on my Instagram. I teach people things every day. I'll show them how I fix cars, fix my washing machine, all that everyday things that people think that, oh, people who are celebrities don't have these problems. Yes, we do. And you'll see me fixing my washing machine. Why? You're going to fix that old washing machine, Shan, because I'm not buying a $1,500 one, because if I do, I'm going to sit it in my living room, I'm going to put cushions on it, and I'm going to make y'all sit on it every time you come here, and I'm going to tell you stories about this $1,500 washer. You know what I'm saying? Who needs a $1,500 washer? That's you just playing like you balling or something. I'm not balling.
Especially when you can fix the one you got.
Thank you. But people would say, oh, you know, those foolish people would say, why don't you just go buy a new one? Because I'm not as dumb as you are.
Remember, always consider the source, baby. Always consider the source. I could dig it. Now, I want to know, real quick, could you tell the people, tell the world about the game show that you got in your mind about You Think You Know Hip Hop?
It's called So You Think You Know Hip Hop. At first, I was going to do it on the RV, but since I built this party bus, I'm going to do it on the party bus. And the whole thing is, I'm going to have 4 contestants. We're going to all start our evening. There's 2 things you can guarantee by coming on Shan's game show. Nobody walks away empty-handed, and you're not going to walk away any goddamn richer than you came. Okay? So get the 4 contestants, and as we go through a couple of rounds, and as you lose a round, you just get kicked off the bus. Now, wherever the bus is at, whether it's on 285 between exit 56 and exit 57, you have to get off the bus no matter where we at. We're not going to leave the people stranded, but it's just the point that you get a ride home if you know hip hop.
Now, are you still working out the kinks? Because now, how are your questions going to be formed? Because if you got a 20-year-old contestant, you can't really expect him to know something about what happened in '81. So how would you?
I'm still working on that shit.
Okay, you working the kinks out.
You know, it's like I got ADD when it comes to things I'm doing. I'll be doing that 1 minute, and next thing I'm switched up over here. So that game show has gotten pushed to the back. And you know what I'm saying? The bus has gotten pushed to the back. The bus is sitting in the back of my yard. I ain't been on that bus since I built it. You know what I'm saying? I haven't put it in action. I got friends that come down and I'll go take the bus and get them and pick them up, but I haven't put it to work yet. You know what I'm saying? It's just sitting in the yard.
Shanique?
I know you mentioned your Instagram page, how people can stay updated on what you're doing. Now, are you currently working on any other projects, a movie, TV, anything else?
Nope. I'm just doing me every day and spreading whatever knowledge that I can before I pass on. Okay. That's all I'm doing. Giving my experiences, hoping that my experiences shows another person don't do that. I'll talk about drugs. Hopefully somebody won't do that. There's no shame in my game. Nothing I did. Everything I've done gives me my character. If I was to fail tomorrow, I'd show my failure because my failure may help somebody else not fail.
Now, are you currently on drugs?
No, I'm currently smoking weed. You want some weed? Nigga, I got plenty of that shit. I got plenty of that shit around, but if you want to call that drug, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, anybody who are on drugs like that, you can't have the things that I've got. You know what I'm saying? I've got a boat outside my window. I've got an RV outside my window. I've got buses. I've got plenty of cars. I just bought my sons a Polaris. A drug person only thinks about themselves.
You would have been told.
They are selfish. Right now, I live for my children. I don't do anything for me. I wear, look, my pants is all, look at this. I I do nothing for me. Anything that I do is for my children. And if I'm into drugs, and that's just going to make the plug rich, and my kids have nothing. I've been there before. I know what it feels like to be high. It ain't nothing new to me.
But how did you beat that habit? You know, so we witnessed DMX go through this thing for years upon years. How did you beat it?
You never beat it. You can never beat it. It's always in you when you wake up in the morning, and it's on you to either do or not do. Anybody that has got caught by this disease will know that when you wake up in the morning, there's something in your chest saying, nigga, you know you want to get high. You know you want to get high. So every day, any day, if I wanted to, I go get high. If I wanted to, because I got to beat that dragon every morning like, nigga, shut up, please. You know what I'm saying? Come on, shut up.
Okay. All right. And
just now you notice how you see people that say they go to AA and they count the days. And you hear people that'll say, I'm 15 years, 13 months, 2 days, and 6 hours and 15 minutes. That's how bad it is.
Okay.
That you're 15 years in and you still beating that dragon down every fucking morning. So when you see people, and like I say, lots of the interviews that we see nowadays, now let's be real with it. When you look at DMX in these freaking videos, right? You see 99% of the time he's high as hell.
Right.
Where are the people that were around him to say, yo, not give him a hand out, but give him a hand up and say, yo, D, homie. He would have appreciated that shit, because we don't like yes men. If you a yes motherfucker, we don't respect you. We don't fuck with you. We hear you, but we don't fuck with you. But somebody that's going to say something that objects with what you're doing, we respect that. Because in our position, that's what the fuck we looking for. Everybody wants to say, yes, Shan, yes, D, yes, that. We looking for the motherfucker to say, yo, nigga, you're doing too much.
Well, I actually saw an interview with his wife, and she stated that anyone who tried to, talk sense into him or tried to encourage him to stop doing drugs, he kind of strayed away from those people. So she was saying that's what she said in an interview. I'm not, that's what she said in a Breakfast Club interview a few years ago.
Now, let me tell you what it is. It's not what you say to them, it's how you approach them. Because if somebody was to come at me and say, Shan, I could make the excuse that my shoe ain't tied to go get high. All right? Now, if you're going to keep telling somebody and pointing your finger at them, only thing you're going to do is drive them to go get high. Why? Because they're going to get mad that you're pointing your finger and they're going to say, screw you, I'm going to do what I do. It's the way you go about it. If you're going to keep on pointing your finger and making them feel like, you know what I'm saying? It's a way you go about it. And the only time that they're going to get done with what they're doing is when they get sick and tired of being sick and tired. So don't beat yourself up because you couldn't stop a drug addict from being a drug addict. All right? Or doing what the fuck they're going to do. And that goes for anybody out here. Don't be mad because you can't stop your family member before they OD. You doing your part. They're going to have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired before they fucking change. And that's all I got to say about that.
Okay. All right. So that's all I have.
Did I clear up the drug question?
Yeah. Yeah, because when I watched you on your the video about DMX, I wasn't sure if you were stating that you were currently in that situation or if you were. Okay.
I can tell you this. If I ran into a nigga with some pure D right now, boy, ain't no telling what I might do. You see what I'm saying? All the drugs out here are messed up. They're fiddling with it. They're doing this. So I'm not worried about it. That's not even my thing.
Okay.
But if a nigga came along with some glass.
I don't know if we should be laughing because what advice would you give somebody who is struggling with drugs at this moment? Would you give them any advice?
Look, keep your money in your pocket. You don't want, look, this is what it came to. It came to the point of when it come around Christmas and the plug got more for his kids than your kids. That's when you gotta start thinking. You know what I'm saying? Hold up. There's nothing you can tell a nigga that's on drugs, like I just told you. They have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired themselves. So I can make these jokes and fuck what they feel. So what? You still on drugs, nigga. You ain't gonna get off till you feel like it. Fuck it. Everybody trying to help this person. Don't beat yourself up. They ain't gonna stop till they get sick and tired of being sick and tired or die. And don't beat yourself up for it. It ain't your fault.
Okay. Thank you for doing this interview with us.
I appreciate y'all for having me, because y'all could have had anybody else y'all wanted tonight, but y'all decided to have me. So I appreciate your patronage and hope you come back and see me again.